pausing the gum before we go live. Oh, we're already live, but first, oh, you, third rail. What's up, everybody? Uh, boom. Edgar's joining. Oh, yeah. Oh, man.
Jonathan,
What's happening?
what's up, man? Been a minute.
I know. The thing I was most excited about was I've done a couple lives recently with people I didn't know. It's nice to finally do one with someone I hug when I see them. You know what I'm saying?
For sure, for sure. No, it's a pleasure to be here, man. It's an honor.
Yeah. So what's good? I don't. I always like to kind of like work back because it's not like so often that we get the time to like sit down, have coffee, really get to know each other. And I love doing it live even more than anything, just because I'm as genuine and authentic as I can be at all times, and this helps me do that. And I like to kind of bring that out to other people, my friend. So I kind of wanted to dive back into the beginning of Edgar Barbosa and understand like what happened when you were younger that got you to where you're at, because I know you're crushing it more than most people these days. So I want to know what the struggles were that you went with back in the day.
Mm. Okay, so first, right, myself, Edgar Barbosa, third rail realtor, and Ed and Edgar. I am a Mexican immigrant. I am a soon-to-be father. I know that some people may not know, right?
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
yeah, for sure. I am a husband, an athlete, REI investor, a Marine, and I am an employee for CTA. So I think the journey has been difficult from the beginning stages, right? So 5 years old, my parents bring me here across from Mexico to Chicago, and then just kind of trying to fit in, find my way, growing up on the south side of Chicago. That in itself is a blessing to go through. And just growing through finding my identity, the skills that I picked up along the way, joining the military, getting out was a very, very big struggle that we can touch on. Um, and yeah, here I am now, kind of more stable and happier than ever.
So what about coming here from Mexico? Do you know how you came across the border officially?
Yeah, through we took a bus. So we, obviously back then it was right around like 92, 93 time frame. It was a lot different, right? Because after 9/11 happened, everything tightened up on the borders. But yeah, we took a bus and then from Arizona we flew over to Chicago. So a story that my mom shares with me all the time is I lost like some toys that I had coming across on one of the buses, and I don't remember, but apparently I kind of took that one kind of hard. So losing toys is coming across the border was a big one.
So what was the process to get documented? Because then you were initially undocumented, right? Or no?
Yes, initially undocumented. My father was here. He was already a American citizen, so he
Okay.
brought my mother and myself. So he sponsored me and my mother, so I was able to obtain my residency through my father, and then I actually obtained my citizenship through the military, the Marine
Oh,
Corps.
dang. Oh, that's awesome. I didn't even know that even a thing that you can do, because I was just talking with Julio at our last meetup, and he got smuggled over with some fake parents when he was like literally a
Yeah.
little baby. He didn't have a passport, but it was what, in 2000 or something like that, actually like right before 9/11, I think. And then like he was able to get across, and his parents came later, and then he came from California, Chicago. But then like because they
Mm.
closed up the DACA program, like he's still undocumented. So is there an avenue joining the military? Even can you join the military if you still are undocumented, like right this second, or how does that
I,
work? Do you know?
I believe you have to be a resident, right? So you still have to be a resident of the country, and then they help you obtain your citizenship. At least that's how it worked for me. I'm not too familiarized with the process of joining without documents. I think it's possible. I mean, I don't even know these days with how they got it going on. But at the time, yeah, I didn't even know that I was able to obtain that citizenship through the military until another one of the Marines that I was stationed with. He was from China, or yeah, I think China, and then he was able to get his citizenship from there.
Oh, no way. So, what 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 happened that prompted joining the Marines? How old were you? Were you straight out of high school? What was that story of going down that path to fight for our country?
It was so I initially was going to join through what they call the buddy program, right? So it's you and then another buddy of yours kind of going together, and you kind of go through the whole onboarding process of joining the Marine Corps. It was right after high school, but it was kind of like you do. My parents were like, "Hey, you're gonna go to work or you're gonna go to school or something," right? So then I was all right. I got two options. I'm gonna do the school thing or the military thing. The military thing, I ended up getting in trouble prior to joining, right around 18 years old, so I wasn't able to join at that time.
What did you do that
And
got you in trouble?
it was a battery charge.
Oh, oh
Yeah,
no.
yeah,
Oh no. That you had some anger. You had some anger from the
I
past, huh?
did. Yeah, yeah. It was something that, it took a while to kind of control that, that trauma of being just an angry, short-lived guy from the
Dude,
south side of
that was like how it
Chicago.
was. That was how it was for me. And I didn't know it, but like all through elementary school and then middle school and high school, was like, dude, I got in trouble all of the time. Always acting out, always bullying. But like bullies, bullies, right? Like
Sure.
that's the thing, right? And so it's like I got bullied all the time, and so I would bully back, but then I'd act out because I didn't know what I was doing, and I was just like always in trouble. I remember that those numbers they had the 505 detention, so I was always a frequent member of the 505. Yeah, and that was the extra hour, not the 1 hour detention, the 2 hour
Yeah.
detention, the
Ah,
505 to 305. That was yeah, I was a frequenter there, man. I remember it was just like over and over and over again, get in trouble, smoke weed, get in trouble with the cops, do something else, just like acting out. But there's a reason, for
sure. Yeah, it stems
it.
from somewhere.
And we just don't know it until we get that awareness to realize why we're acting the way we're acting.
Absolutely.
And that was just like a revelation in my life to, self reflect on. Like, why was I doing all that? So one of my life's missions is just like bring more awareness to the people around me so that they can figure out, who they are and what they're doing.
Sure.
Anyways, that was a huge tangent. But back to the military. So you had a couple options. You got in trouble,
Hmm.
and you couldn't join when you were
Right.
18, but you decided to join
So
when?
I joined when I was 21. I had just turned 21. I was going on 22, right? So this is after I wasn't able to join. I went straight into work. So I was working at a factory for a minute. I was doing forklift operating out of Bolingbrook, right around the 2008 time. So I did that for about a year and a half. I was going to school, went to Universal Technical Institute to study automotive diesel industrial mechanics. I graduated from that trade school in 2009, right around the
So
recession
what
times.
would you say to someone who's, I don't mean to cut you off, but I love the idea of trade school because, being in the general contracting space, I personally don't believe there's a more underappreciated industry than the trades, people working with their hands. And it's not something that goes away. What would you tell someone who might be considering going to some type of trade school? Like, would you encourage it? Would you, like, is it a stepping stone, or how could someone use that, for a way to a path that they may not have been thinking was that path that they were
Yeah,
on?
I'm a big advocate for trade schools, coming from like the mechanics, and then now being in the real estate space and seeing, the contractors such as yourself, and then seeing all these other trades, skilled trades, electricians, plumbers, HVAC. Those guys are crushing it. You got your own business, even if you do work for somebody else, or if you are working for like the city, let's say, or those guys make big money. And it's valuable skills that you can use on a daily basis. I was just talking to my younger sister about that. She's 17 years old, and I was kind of giving her those options. Hey, look, there's trades that you can go do. There is college. If you want to do college, go and start off at a community college, get those basic classes out of the way. And there's several different paths, but I'm a big advocate of trades for sure.
Yeah, I think it's pretty underappreciated, and it's something that it's not often looked at as a bridge to being an entrepreneur. And there's not a lot of other industries like that where you can go work as a plumber, as an HVAC technician, or a carpenter, and you can start your own business faster than you would probably any other way that I can think of, because you can start as being your own employee pretty quickly, you know. And so it's like anyone who's thinking about that, like I strongly encourage it. Like I think it's the easiest way. Well, not the easiest way, you know, there's definitely some labor for sure that goes into it. But like, it's one of the more overlooked ways to get to entrepreneurship, to work for yourself. And then I think the struggle happens to be is like when those people are trying to get out of the business, because a lot of times they end up being the business. And so
Hmm.
oftentimes it's the struggle of like, tax accountants are great tax accountants, but they're not always good businessmen, right? Plumbers are good plumbers, but they're not always good businessmen. So it's like,
Sure.
how do we, you know, what we're trying to do at Quality Builders too is just like, how do we equip them and let them do what they're good at and they enjoy doing it, and then let us do the marketing, the sales, the estimating, the scheduling, all that type of stuff. But yeah, I love that you went down that route, because I just think it's super underappreciated, and we need more of it, right? Like AI doesn't fix swinging a hammer yet that I know of.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
so you went to trade school, and then at 21, you was it because that was once your troublemaking was over or it expired, and then you could reenlist, or
Yeah, yeah. So it was after that, some time had passed. I kind of got the stuff expunged, right? I had some assistance from my recruiter, who I still stay in contact with to this day. Me and him are really good friends, right? So he was able to assist me in kind of getting me back onto that path of joining the Marine Corps. It was right around the recession, so it was very difficult to find a job. I was able to find a job at that time, but it just wasn't paying what I needed. I wanted to get out of Chicago. So I was like, you know what, set me up, sign me up as quick as I can to get out of here. And it was right around 21, 22 years old when I was able to join.
and then what it looked like while you were enlisted? Did you go overseas? Did you stay stateside? What was your
Yeah,
duties?
yeah, it was stateside, so I was able to kind of secure an occupation in the dispersing financial role of the Marine Corps. So I was stationed in New Orleans, Louisiana, which is the 4th Marine Forces Reserve headquarters. And we dealt with all the pay entitlements, travel of all the Marines across the country, active and reserves, and across the globe as well. So that's where I was stationed at. I wasn't deployed anywhere overseas, um, but I was able to kind of meet some great people along my journey in those 4 years that I served, and it was a great time to learn.
Yeah, I think often, like even myself and probably most people, anyone listen, they think Marines, or they think Army, or they think anything in the service that you're shooting a gun. But there's actually like tons of different ways to like build a career and then exit and build on top of what you're already doing there. That's true, right? I mean, for the most part.
Yes, 100%. And that's really kind of where I wanted to, once I left active duty service, I wanted to take that occupation and those specialties that I did learn and apply them in the civilian sector. I was going to school at DePaul University after I left active duty for finance, project management was my major for a minute. So I wanted to take those skills and bring them onto the civilian sector. Ultimately, I used the skills that I learned at the trade school to get me into where I'm at now.
Mm.
So that was kind of a full circle moment.
So, what would you say to someone who's on the fence about joining the military?
You know what? I think that it just depends on who you are as a person. If you have this mentality where you don't want to listen, you don't think outside of whatever your mind state is, then you're probably going to struggle. You're going to have a tough time because, the whole role of joining the military is kind of breaking you down. And, those habits that you've built over your life, they want to instill new habits that align with their mission. And if you're not open to that, then you're going to have a hard time.
Yeah. 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 And or hopefully they break you down and you get the new habits and that may be why you're going there because you need the direction too
For
at the
sure.
same time.
For sure.
Yeah, I know I have a lot of friends who joined who were on troubled pasts and they just wanted something different and they like the idea of shooting guns, and
That
and
too.
I think it's
That too.
different strokes for different folks is what I remember saying. And it's just like all of us are on this kind of like journey of life and we all take different paths. But at the end of the day, it's like once we can realize that the most, at least for me, like the most important thing in my life is making sure I'm serving other people, that I'm being mindful, that I'm staying humble and doing all those things. And I think the military does a good job of kind of putting you in your place, for lack of better words, right? I think,
Well,
you know, what's that?
you become unselfish as well, right? So you have to work as a team, and like you mentioned, you want to serve other people. That's a good unselfish way to serve.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the books I was just reading is just talking about selfless
Mm.
service. So I don't think there's a word that resonates better than me or better for me than that word of selfless service and living my life that way. And anyways, so you got out of the service, then
Hmm.
you went to DePaul, you studied some finance, or project management, and then where are you at now? You joined,
Currently,
you joined
currently,
CTA, right? So
yeah, I'm currently working for the city of Chicago, the Chicago Transit Authority. I started out as I got in working on the trains, so I was a mechanic for the city rail system. I was over working on the red line trains for a while, and then I made that transition into management to a management role. So that's where I'm at now. I'm managing the blue line at the moment.
what's it mean to manage a train line? What does that look like?
Well, there's different aspects. You have operations, and those are the people that make sure that the trains get to the stations on time, that if need to be rerouted in case of delays or incidents, those are the transit operations employees. I am on the rail maintenance side, so we ensure that the trains are well maintained for service. So we have to maintain, much like, if you take your vehicle to Jiffy Lube or to any auto mechanic shop, essentially I am the one you come see first, and then I give whatever is wrong with the trains to my mechanics and they fix them.
Interesting. I know, I know. Well, first of all, I love the CTA. So thank you for your work there. Thank you for your service. I didn't say that earlier. Like
Thank you.
I always wish I had another life to join the service, but there was like one thing that my mother was adamant about, and it was that I was not going to go into the armed forces. So I didn't even really have the option unless I was going to completely defy my mother's wishes. God rest her
Yeah,
soul. But yeah, thank you very much because I love the CTA. I think a lot of people don't appreciate it for what it is. It's probably I know actually for a fact, like it's one of the world's best transit systems in one of the biggest metropolitan areas. And if it weren't for people like you running it, it wouldn't be where it's at. So thank
yeah,
you, my friend.
we have our challenges, and it was a big thing for me to leave active duty military service from serving my country now to kind of serving my city that I grew up in.
Mm.
So it was a great transition for me to kind of get into the role that I'm in now.
Dude, that's such an awesome thought too. What would you say? I want to jump backwards though, transitioning from military to civilian life. A lot of service members struggle with that. What are your top three keys to kind of transitioning as best as possible? It seems like you had done it maybe easier than other people. Was there any things, three things that come to mind that helped you through that process?
So it wasn't an easy transition. It was actually very difficult. So once you leave active duty service, you really kind of lose that structure for one of being waking up, going to physical training, going to do your occupation, and just kind of having that routine and the requirements that they set for you. But once you leave active duty service, you're on your own, right? You can make your own rules. You can do it as you please. Nobody's telling you what to do, what time to wake up, where to be at a certain time. So it's your responsibilities, and it hits hard, kind of leaving that. I think one of the important things to consider when leaving the military service is kind of finding that community.
Mm.
You know, you want to, and right now there's a large veteran community, specifically in Chicago, Chicago veterans. There's a lot of Marine Corps groups. Marines of the Suburbs is one of them. Second City Leathernecks is another group. So there's a lot of different groups that you can be a part of to kind of give you that camaraderie, that sense of community back that you may be lacking once you leave active duty service.
Mm. What was the toughest part for you? Just losing the structure or anything
Um,
else?
for me, it was the structure was a big thing, but see, I had already kind of worked prior to joining the service, so I understood what kind of like civilian workforce was. For
Mm.
me, it was uh, becoming stable, right, financially. Because when you leave, I was bouncing around from job to job, just kind of trying to make money. I was getting a stipend from the GI Bill, which is for going to school. So I was getting my school paid for. I was going to school. I had that amount a month, but I was still very unstable on, you know, I was just bad financially when I got out.
Yeah. So after you got out, you got your degree, you joined the CTA. How did you eventually kind of find your way to real estate?
Because again, it became, I was bad, I was doing bad financially, right? So
Yeah.
I, I came from kind of not having a lot of money in the first couple years while I was going to school, and then I ended up getting a good job working for the state, and then I kind of moved up again working for CTA, and I was making pretty good money, but I found myself still broke. I was like, "Where is this? What is happening? Where's this money going? Why am I making X amount now?" And I'm still like, you know, paycheck to paycheck, and that's when I was like, I have to find a way to make my money work for me and to how to like set budgets and be better about it, right? So the big thing was I started researching. I was like, what's the best way to save money or to invest money? And real estate popped up. So that's kind
Mm.
of the fact. That's how I got in, and then I started researching.
Interesting. Yeah, I think budgeting, it sounds so simple, but most, it's not really taught like it should be in high school or middle school
Yeah,
even, and then we go into the real world, and I like, or I always remember the term like lifestyle creep. So as you start making 50,000, you spend 50,000, then you make 75 and you spend 75, and if you're not really tracking it, you're just gonna keep spending it. And yeah, setting the budget is one of the most important things that I think you can do to really kind of hone in on your finances. I'm actually super pissed off,
well,
man. I had Mint, I don't Mint.com, and they're
yeah.
shutting down their
Went to Credit
services.
Karma. Yeah, they
Yeah,
went to Credit Karma.
and they're
I
not,
saw that.
and it's not the same at all. Like it's disgusting. I'm so upset. My budget was on there since 2009.
Yeah,
All my
I was a
data.
Mint user too.
I'm frustrated.
Yeah.
So wait, did you transfer to Credit Karma or no?
Yeah, I transferred myself to Credit Karma, but I have like other tools that I use. And then recently I kind of just started using my own spreadsheets. It's just a lot easier to control.
Yeah, I haven't switched to anything yet, so I'm frustrated. So, but like eventually too, it's like any habit, right? It actually just becomes a standard in your life, And so for me, I'm like as frugal as you can be, Monday through Friday. I eat at home. I had my tuna and crackers a day. I drink my water. I don't keep cookies and chips and all this shit in my house. Like I eat clean. I eat healthy. I don't spend a bunch of money.
Yeah,
And then on the weekends, if I want to go out and have a nice dinner, I go have a nice dinner.
for sure.
But like me, like at the core of my like beliefs and who I am, like I don't need a lot, right? Like I've learned that like nothing out here, this external thing, is going to bring me the
It's
fulfillment
flashy.
that I need. It's all about the internal fulfillment. It's all about me, my faith, and my relationship with God that just helps me, take all this pressure and anxiety that we all have every day and just know that it's going to be okay because all of this is temporary at the end of the
Yes.
day,
Yeah.
and it's all going away and we're all going away, right? Like we are not our bodies. That's one of the favorite things I like to remind myself, like, because once we die, like our body is still laying there and decays and we're going somewhere else. Where do you think we're
Indeed.
going?
Well, hopefully heaven.
But so what does heaven look like to you? Like that's like a question I asked someone the other day. Like Like, what does it look like? Like, are you there talking to people? Are you like a ghost? Are you just two spirits communicating through spirit talk? Like, do you have any thoughts on like what that looks like?
Um, I don't know what it looks like. I think it's whatever, it's gonna differ for different people, I think.
Yeah, it is a crazy topic, man. I love those type of thoughts of like what really happens, you know, and that uh, like what really happens, and the question is like none of us know. But like the one thing I've gotten so much more comfortable with is embracing the unknown. And once we embrace the unknown, everything else becomes easier because none of us really know what's going to happen,
Yeah,
you know.
you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah. You got any tricks and tips to get comfortable being uncomfortable?
Um, well, if you, what's that saying? That if you want to change, if you want something new, you're not gonna get it by staying the same or something like that.
Hmm. You want
I
something new, you can't do the same thing over and over again. That's a horrible quote. That's like what they call insanity, right? Repeating the same thing over.
yeah, but it's something along those lines where it said, you don't become new by doing the old or
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah. I mean, one of our values at Quality Builders is growth, which means embrace constant change.
Hmm.
And you know, I found the more that I can change, I want to be a different person every fucking day. You know, like I want to wake up tomorrow different than I was today, better than I was today, more aware than I was today, and just be dedicated to that like self improvement, that selfless service to helping other people. And because once I've really kind of found myself, that's when I finally felt like I can start helping other people, you
Right.
know. But most of us don't even know we need help. Like of course, I need help on a daily basis. But once you can kind of finally find a little bit more internal fulfillment, you've kind of, for me, it was tracking back through my past, understanding what happened in my past, getting bullied, getting exposed to tons of like sexual things super early, losing my mom, all these kind of traumatic events that we don't know that we're holding on
Yeah.
to. And then once
Yeah.
we identify, like, oh, these are why I've had those insecurities, all of a sudden, boom, they're gone. At least how it was for me, you know, because I took ownership for what happened in my past. And now that I know why I was the way I was, I can decide who I want to be in the future.
Sure. Yeah, I think a lot of people match that with like coping mechanisms, right? So they don't want to deal with those issues that they've had in the past, so they just cope with them in a
Yeah,
different way.
I mean it's common ground for our society. You know, as you get older, you all of a sudden when you're 18, right? No,
Mhm.
21. 18 you can smoke. 18 you can smoke. 21 you
Mhm.
can drink. Right? Coping
Right.
mechanism immediately.
Right.
So it's just like you know, it's like, and then like how does life work, right? Like what your parents tell you don't do this, you go do it, right? Like they say you can't drink, you can't smoke, you go drink and smoke, and you don't know why you're doing it until you can really until you can kind of sit with those emotions and say, at least this is how it was for me. Like, why am I having a desire to smoke weed at the end of my day? Well, for me, it was I would work all day. I would get here, sit by myself, and be like, damn, I'm freaking lonely, you know? And identifying these emotions that we're feeling and understanding that any of those short term numbing mechanisms called
Yeah.
drinking, smoking, sex, whatever it is, right? Gambling, shopping,
Right.
eating,
Eating.
all
Yep. That's a big
all of
one.
these things are lead to you know addiction in some form or fashion if you don't keep it in moderation. That was one thing my mom always said. Everything is okay in moderation, you know. So,
Yeah.
what about you finding your own identity?
Um,
Tell me about like
well,
how did you find your own identity? How did you figure out who Edgar Barbosa is and kind of steer your ship a little bit straighter in your life?
I think that for the longest time, I was again kind of like masking that those traumatic events or maybe just my happiness with alcohol. That was my big thing. And I think kind of growing into where I am now, I was always afraid to be a leader. I was always afraid to be in a public speaking situation where I had other people kind of looking at me as I was speaking. And so that's kind of where I took the role that I'm in now. You know, I was afraid of it. So I was like, I have to go in and face these fears like head on. Swimming was a big thing. That was a big one for me. So I recently, started getting into triathlons. I was always afraid of the water. So, facing these fears head on has gave me the confidence to kind of push past it and move
Mm.
forward and kind of, be who I am now.
Wait, so could you swim before or no?
I was able to like float, right? So I did the for like Marines, you're supposed to learn how to like water survival. So I was able to do that, but I was like recreational swimming I was never into. I didn't know how to do the breaststroke or the freestyle or anything like that. It
Uh,
was just getting in the water.
yeah, I'm only asking because my girlfriend Princess, she doesn't know how to swim, so she's trying to learn how to swim this year. So I was just gonna see if you had any tips
Yeah.
for
Yeah, I mean, YouTube, I was watching a lot of YouTube, and then it really just comes down to just going in and doing it,
her.
just starting small. There's like flotation devices that you can use and just kind of getting a good, like form.
Yeah, yeah. I,
Breathing is a big thing too.
I was lucky. I was on swim team when I was young, so I'm like a fish in the water. So I don't have any fear down there.
Wow.
Uh, last thing before we got to run because I know we're at time, but
Yeah,
I signed up. I'm signing up for the Chicago Triathlon this year.
awesome.
So what
Awesome.
are your top three tips for my training and whatnot? It's not a long thing, I'm pretty confident runner, swimmer, and
Yeah.
biker. But like, what are the top three things I need to focus on to have a good race?
Fuel, right?
Fuel.
You want to get plenty of fuel while you're doing the race. So you want to spread that out, however that looks for you. You want to be have plenty of rest, right? So leading up to the triathlon, you want to be rested up, kind of like the week prior. You
Mm-hmm.
don't want to go crazy to the day of. And strength training. Strength training is a big one because it allows you. A lot of people think that when doing endurance sports, it's all about running as fast as you can or cycling as fast as you can. It's really you want to slow down and you want to incorporate strength training into your routine so your muscles so you can be strong enough, right, to handle those stresses that you're gonna put your body through during the triathlon.
All right, first triathlon. I'm gonna be focused on it: fuel, rest, and strength training. Well, I see you out there. Are you doing the Chicago Triathlon?
You know what? I haven't signed up for it, but I think I am this year. I'm gonna do the Chicago Marathon. I'm gonna do a couple other ones. I'm thinking about doing the Ironman over in Wisconsin or Michigan. So I might skip out on the triathlon and just go balls to the wall and do the
Yeah,
Ironman in
I'm not ready
Wisconsin or
for the
Michigan.
Ironman
Yeah.
yet.
For
Yeah,
sure.
but I'm thinking about it. But like the problem with or not the problem, but like the challenge for me is like, dude, it takes a long time to train. Like
Absolutely.
it's
Yeah,
not like it's
absolutely.
it's it's like hours, dozen hours a week at least training.
Absolutely. Yeah. But it's very rewarding, and it builds the discipline in you that I'm sure will take light in your other businesses as well.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, because I'm with you because as I've found, like I've prioritized my own health, like everything else gets easier. And I just try to
For
focus on
sure.
making sure I'm balancing all those different pillars. My spirituality, my health, my wealth, my blank, 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 and my relationships, and when I kind of know when I can find balance and kind of move back and forth and make sure I'm kind of firing on all cylinders in all areas of my life, I'm feeling the
Yeah,
healthiest. So, uh,
absolutely.
anyways, we're gonna hook up again soon, and
Yeah, I see you
I wish you
running the
the
606, man.
yeah, I wish you the best of luck. And well, I'll talk to you soon. We need to do some real estate deals
I got a
ASAP. So,
I got a few, so I'll be reaching out to you.
all right, later, dude.
All right, brother.
All right, bye.